Lydia Garza has honestly lived almost every side of the entertainment industry, and I think that's what makes this conversation so interesting. Before founding the Blanco Agency, Lydia started as an actress herself, working in television and film, learning firsthand just how unpredictable and competitive this industry can really be. Since then, she's gone from being in front of the camera to helping guide talent behind the scenes through casting, coaching, producing, and talent representation, while also building her own agency and helping actors navigate a business that most people only see from the outside. And I think especially now, with social media changing entertainment so much, there's this whole other side to the industry people don't always understand, what actually makes someone stand out, what agencies are really looking for, and how hard it can be to build something long-term in this business. So in this episode, we're talking all about Lydia's journey, the entertainment world behind the scenes, the realities of talent representation, and what she's learned from experiencing this industry from so many different angles. Welcome back to the Call Me Obsessed podcast. Lydia, I'm so excited you had some time to join me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Lydia, when I came upon your TikTok, I became obsessed with the feedback you were giving people on TikTok.
I've been a TikTok watcher and I've been, always following people and never really posting. For a minute there, I started posting like some diet stuff because I was on a health journey. But I was like, you know what? The one thing I feel that I'm an expert on is my experience in the industry and my journey. So I've always thought about writing a book one day. And I was like, well, this is like the next best thing, is to be able to tell my story and to give the lessons and my point of view. And I'm surprised on how many people it comes across and where they're located in the world and how it affects them. It's a little growing channel, but it's growing. I'm getting a lot of actors and casting and producers and just regular people who are interested in the entertainment industry following along.
Before you became a talent agent, you had a career before that. So I want to go back a little bit about who Lydia was before Hollywood.
Before Hollywood, I was a little girl who dreamt of being an actor one day. I was obsessed with television. I loved TV shows and film and like Saved by the Bell and like all the after school shows and specials. And I mean, I grew up in a little town in Texas, in South Texas. Being a professional actor was never on my radar growing up as a kid. And I took my first theater class in middle school and I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I don't know what this is, but I love doing it and I want to keep doing it. And it was just something that became a part of my life and who I was throughout all of high school and in college. And then I finally decided, I think I'm gonna go after this career as an actor and give it a shot. And so that's kind of how the journey started. But it was because I had the opportunity in college to work with professional actors. I did a show in San Antonio, Texas with the San Antonio Symphony at this beautiful, majestic theater. And it was my first major job as a professional actor. And they flew in all these actors from Chicago and New York and LA, and I got to share the stage with them. And I was like, wait a minute, like this was like my first taste into you could be a professional actor. You could do this for a living. And that was the pivotal moment for me to go, you know what, I can do this. I think I'm going to go after this and try my hand at this.
So when you were on the stage in San Antonio and you had that aha moment of, I can do this, what was your next step?
Changed my major because I was a psychology major for the first 2 years of college because I could not believe you could be a professional actor. So I tried to do something more practical, stable, and safe. I changed my major. And then from there, it was all focused on where do I want to finish my studies and where do I want to go and what's going to be my first move. And so when I finished college with it, actually back in the day, I ended up getting a communications degree with an emphasis in theater, television, and film because my university didn't have a BFA or a BA in theater arts, which works for me now because in communications, it's great. But then I got my first agent. I moved to Austin right out of college, got my first agent, and I tried that market for about 2 years, got my feet wet as a professional actor, did a few commercials, did a few films, was one of the leads in a feature film. And so I got to feel like, okay, I think I can do this. I got some confidence in that market. And that's what kind of helped the jump start to go to Los Angeles.
And that is a good jump.
Yeah. Then I knew what I wanted for myself, and I didn't want myself to get in the way of reaching that, like self-sabotaging or trying to keep myself or settling for less when I knew what I wanted. So I just went after it.
I've looked at the list of people you've worked with.
God, it was amazing. I had a slower start in the beginning. I would say my first year and a half in Los Angeles, I was just struggling to figure things out, like learn the city. How does the industry work? Can I find an agent? How do I audition? How do I get my foot in the door? And, just kind of figuring things out. And I did a lot of non-union extra work in the beginning. And then I took some workshops and classes, and I got to meet a casting director on a TV show called Strong Medicine. And she cast me in my first speaking role in Strong Medicine on Lifetime. After that, a week later, I booked CSI, and a week later, I booked Good Morning Miami. And so in my first month of being a working actor, I had 3 TV shows under my belt. And then that snowball just started to work for me. I got to work on a lot of amazing TV shows. I got to work on Prison Break, was one of my favorite shows, like Desperate Housewives, CSI, Monk. Curb Your Enthusiasm is a fan favorite. So that's the show that I used to get stopped at Target and asked for an autograph because the fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm recognized me immediately. They're the creators of Seinfeld. So for me to be working with the guys that created Seinfeld, it was like, wow, I'm in the presence of genius, like it was so amazing. And then I got to work with Tom Hanks, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Steven Spielberg, and a movie called The Terminal, and that was great. I worked a week and a half with Diego Luna was in that movie as well. So I had a great time on that. And then I also worked with Kate Winslet and Jack Black in a movie called The Holiday. I got to work with Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher in No Strings Attached. And I was in my personal, wow, I got to be in Mark Ruffalo's directorial debut, which was a huge thing for me. Yeah, I had a great career. I think my last thing that I did when I was in Hollywood was General Hospital. So it was like full circle. I got to end it with a soap opera and then head out of town and move back to Texas.
The thing that I love about your career so far, but with what you've shared with me, is that it started with the inspiration of those shows that you mentioned in the beginning here. And then all these name shows that we all know that you were a part of. It's I don't even know the word to express the connection that I feel through your story. What's a good word for it, Lydia?
It's surreal. I played a cop on ER, and I got to work with John Stamos, and I'm like, talk about TGI Friday and your childhood. Like, I'm standing here next to Uncle Jesse, and he was so sweet. And I'm like, it was surreal. It's just one of those surreal moments Tom Hanks too. Like, there's moments where I'm like, you guys are amazing. And how did I end up here? How did this girl from Texas, end up sharing the same space and screen with you people? It's insane.
Sure. What made you want to go back to Texas? What was that transition like?
It was such an interesting journey, this Hollywood journey of mine, because I unfortunately feel like I started to lose the fire a little bit, that fire that I had to be an actor. It slowly started to diminish over the 10 years that I was there, and I stopped being happy and excited about the work. And I felt like there should be something more that I need to be experiencing in my life aside from auditions and bookings. Like, I didn't feel like I was leading a full life. And I think too, for being a minority actor in Hollywood, I felt very typecast in a lot of the roles. I'm from South Texas. I don't speak Spanish though. And I moved to Hollywood, and a lot of the roles were like, okay, you're Maria and you have an accent because you're from Mexico. You just came here and you want your green card. And it was a lot of these types of characters where I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can help tell that story, but that shouldn't be the only story that I tell. And I felt like I was being very confined to a certain type. And it just, after a while, in the beginning, it was like, I don't care, I just want to work. But after 10 years of that, I felt like I would take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And it just started to wear on me emotionally and creatively, that I needed to take a step back and go, well, what else needs to come into my life to make it feel fuller? And that's where I took a step back and headed out of LA back to Texas to figure out what that was.
Draining. But
Oh, yeah.
also the fact that you took self-care in that
Yeah.
process of making that decision at a time maybe that wasn't as popular or talked about as today. Doing self-care for yourself, putting yourself first. And Lydia,
Yeah.
you did.
I really needed to be ready for that because it's been something that I identified myself with since I was 4 years old. I was an actor. That was all I ever was. That's all my passion and dreams were about. And so to make that decision of stepping away from it, then it's like, well, then what am I if I'm not an actor? That was such an identity crisis for me at that time because even within my circles, I was the friend that was the actress. I was the sister that was the actress. I was in Hollywood doing my thing. Like that's how I was identified by a lot of people in my life and relationships. So stepping away from that, I had to be brave to go, okay, I'm not just an actress. Like now I'm me, I'm Lydia. I'm more than just what it is that I do. I had to be ready to close that chapter and be able to walk away from it to create something new in my life.
When you left LA and went back home to Texas, how long did it take for you to come up with your new plan, your new identity for Lydia? What did that look like?
I didn't even have a plan. I mean, originally when I left LA, the goal or the sort of plan was to transition into casting. So I left my acting career, moved to Texas, and I was going to try and start doing casting for films and hopefully eventually television when I got here. And I did. I started casting some independent films, short and feature films when I got back. And then when I ended up getting married and having some kids, a couple of kids, and then we moved back down to our old hometown of Corpus Christi from Austin. And that's when I was like, well, I can't really do my casting dream down here because the industry isn't as busy in this market as it is in a larger city. Yeah. So I had to pivot. And this is where I was like, well, maybe not a casting director, but I can open up an acting studio. And I started teaching kids and adults and teens. And I did that for, I would say, about a couple of years until my students were ready to start working professionally. And it was out of a need of the area that I was asked basically, like, can't you be my agent? And I was like, well, that's not how it works. I'm your acting coach. I just teach you. You go off and you get an agent and go on with your career. And I just got asked enough times that I just stopped and said, what do I need to do to be an agent? Maybe that's the pivot that I needed. And so I looked into it and opened up the Blanco agency, and we haven't looked back since. And it's been 11 years that we've been around.
I got goosebumps. It's such a beautiful story about risk, knowing yourself, knowing what you want, taking chances. Like, that's what life's about. How did you come up with the final name of your agency?
So Blanco was actually my maiden name, and I established my acting career as Lydia Blanco. So I kind of felt it was more of an homage to, my family and to kind of that journey, that part of the journey that kind of laid the foundation for this moment to happen. I mean, my last name has been Garza ever since the beginning of the agency's birth. So it would have made sense to be the Garza agency, but there was some kind of gift that my old self had given me that I felt like it needed to be the Blanco agency. So,
do you miss acting at all?
No, I really feel like it's a chapter that closed, and I feel like I got everything out of it that I could have ever dreamed of and more. And I mean, how do you top Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks? Like, I feel like that's it. Like, I got to experience it. The chapter's closed, and I get to move on to new things. Yeah.
Love that perspective. And I just love that energy because not only did you move on to your agency, you became a mom, you became married, you created this whole new identity that you were searching for in a way when you left and closed that chapter.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about with our viewers is, what do you offer to someone who's out there besides your social media where you offer a lot of advice? Could you give us some insight what it's like running your own agency and what it's like being a talent agent?
One of the things that began this whole thing is scouting talent, right? Like finding talent in unexpected places like South Texas, where maybe they're not always found. And this was pre-COVID, right? So as I'm discovering talent and finding them opportunities within our region, it gave us opportunities to kind of find a future star in somebody, and so to be part of an actor's journey and say, hey, like, you weren't even doing this until we began to work with you. And then the fact that we were part of your journey and story, and now you're on Broadway, or now you're, starring in this movie with, another main actor, like it's a different kind of rewarding because I'm able to be part of the story in a different way instead of being the one whose story it was. Scout talent, I find talent, I submit them for opportunities. We're considered a regional talent agency. So our region is the South Central region of the country. So our agency covers all of Texas, all of Louisiana, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. So any TV shows or films shooting in our area, all of our talent gets submitted for those, as well as commercial print, industrials, voiceover work, all of that. And we also do get the LA breakdowns as well. So we have booked talent in LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. So we're a regional agency, but our reach is a little bit further out. So we have talent based outside of our area.
What's that like working as a talent agent and making sure that everyone is being represented?
Yeah, and the hard part about casting and about representation is it's really not up to us in how the final outcome looks. Like, all I can do is give different options. So if, let's say, a breakdown says, Hispanic maid named Maria in her 40s or something, right? If that comes through, I mean, I could definitely submit the Hispanic 40s, but maybe I might throw in somebody who's not Hispanic just to be considered, maybe a redheaded Russian, or, an Asian person or Caucasian person. Why not? Right. And just give them other options. Now, casting can look at all that and see a special actor in that and go, wow, thanks for that suggestion. I'm going to throw them in as well for consideration to the client. Or they might go, I said Hispanic actress. Why are you sending me all these other types? You're not following my description, right? So it's kind of a twofold, but at the end of the day, casting only presents options to the client, and the director and the producer is the one that makes the final call. So it's hard because it's not up to us to make the call, not casting, not the agent. We can only do what the director and producer are trying to get done for their project. So what I do is I tell people to create their own work, write your own stories, like create new characters for you that are not the stereotypical things. And that is how you gain your power back. I'm not a writer, or else I would have done that, but I've definitely worn a producer hat and a casting director's hat before. So for me, my journey is trying to use my knowledge and experience to kind of help and change the future path. But, the actors can actually create their own work as well. I used to go to like community theater, or I used to get invited to showcases and things like that. And it was really great in the beginning when the agency was just starting out. And I think now I've learned that sometimes it's not just talent, right? A lot of times people go, oh my God, I have a friend who's so great. And they'll tell me about, a community theater show that they're in or something. And I'll see it and I'll go, hey, yeah, you're great. Have you ever thought about acting professionally? And if the drive isn't there, if they're not excited about the possibility of becoming a professional in the industry, then I can't do the work for them. I remember scouting a kid, and he was in middle school, and I'd heard about this kid because he was winning every competition. He was like state and winning scholarships. And then he went on to high school, and everyone's like, you need to keep an eye on that kid. That kid's going to be great. And I did. And I was excited about that kid. And then about his senior year, finally, I talked to his mom and got him signed on with the agency. And he was already booking commercials. And I had gotten him a straight to call back audition for a major film shooting in Texas with some major stars. And it was his senior year, and he was like, no, I want to play, my homecoming football game. It's my senior year, and, I want to go to prom. And he just didn't want it bad enough for, I can't want it for him. I cannot be so excited for the possibility of his career more than he is. And that's something that I've learned over the course of my 11 years with the agency, is like, we have to meet in the middle. Like, I'll be happy to represent you, but you have to put in the work, whether you're training, learning the business, doing what you need to do to get yourself into a better situation. Then together we can go up, but I can't be pulling you up. I have seen so many incredibly talented people that don't want to do this professionally. I mean, there's so many times where I'll see a show and I'm floored and I'm like, oh my God, you would be amazing. You can have a career. Like, I can help you. Like, and they're like, no, happy doing this, or I have no desire to do it beyond what I'm doing for fun. And that's where I feel like I don't seek out as much now. And I feel like those that find me are showing me that they have the drive that this business needs in order for me to be a good partner with them.
You have good instincts. Individuals out there that show vulnerability, sensibility, and being vulnerable in this industry is a good thing to represent.
Trained individuals, passionate individuals, driven individuals will do well in this industry. So as long as they're putting in the work to kind of position themselves to be successful, vulnerability, like that's an acting class, right? Like you go into an acting class and you work with a coach that's going to tenderize you and help you access the emotions that you need to feel in different situations, right? But an agent is more at the business level now. So I can't teach you how to be an actor. I just decide to work with you as a professional to help you in your career. So it's a different side of the actor that
Yeah,
I get to deal with.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
you've dealt with that before when you were a casting coach. So
Yeah.
the pivot you've had to do throughout your
Yeah.
career, honestly,
Yeah. I've been
pretty
trying to stay
exhausting.
in my lane.
When you're talking to the camera and you're talking to these inspiring artists, I
Mm.
feel like you do connect with them because you have come so full circle. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think so too. I feel like that's the consensus when people reach out to me. I do get a lot of direct messages from people because they feel like, I'm you know, understanding or connect with them in a certain way, or that the fact that I've been there and I've experienced it already, and can I help them get there too? So I do feel like I give off that kind of approachable vibe,
Yeah.
maybe, which is fine because, like, as an actor, when I was an actor and as a human, and now as an agent, I try to just stay authentic. I just want to be authentically me, honest, straightforward, kind, and that is what I lead with, even in my TikTok videos. And sometimes, people will not agree, or, they might comment, but it's like, this is authentically my experience, and you may have a different experience, but this is mine, so I'm able to at least stay true to myself in that regard.
So if anyone's looking for advice, I really do think you all should go follow Lydia on social media. It is a great follow. The best thing I did 2 weeks ago, and I've been obsessed since. What is the one piece of advice that you would give these individuals seeking your help?
I usually start with, like, what's your why? Know your why, right? Because sometimes actors will just want to be famous, or they just want to be working. I want to be a working actor. I want to get paid to do it. Like, if you know your why, that's going to keep you focused and it's going to keep you centered. And it doesn't come easy. Like, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of no's before you get a yes. So I think starting off with, training and doing your research and understanding how this business works and keeping focused and knowing your why is what's going to keep you on the track to your success.
And I think that know your why also says a lot about you through your journey. Because
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
known your why, you've searched for your why.
I always tell people, when you do your research on agencies, you want to go to their website, you want to learn how they like to receive submissions. So for us, we have it all laid out on our website. We have a page where people can actually submit through the website all their materials, and it sends it straight to us. It goes straight to me. So I'm able to see who comes through and who has an interest in. And then I have to kind of go through, there's a process I have to go through to see if we even have an opening in our roster for that type, or if we already have too many of that type, or are you way out of our region? Does it make sense for me to represent you when you're in another country and I cover Texas? So there's a lot that goes into it, but definitely research, find out the agents that are in your region that you can get started with, and then figure out how they want to receive submissions. That's the best advice I can give.
Lydia, who is your favorite actor?
Oh, I've always loved Robin Williams. I love Sally Field. I mean, I can't just pick one. There's so many amazing, but I love diverse actors that can do comedy and drama. Those are usually the ones I gravitate towards.
If you could be any animal for one day, what would it be?
My dog, because my dog sleeps all day. He's got a great life.
If you could go on any dream vacation, where would you go?
I would love to go to Greece one day. That's one of my dream vacations.
What star right now out there, or do you have your eye on right now?
A selfish answer because I've had some friends that I've seen come up along the way. So there is a good friend of mine that I've known from our days in Austin theater scene. He was raised in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. His name is Raul Castillo, and he is an up and coming actor. I mean, he's already up up there. He's doing amazing things. I see him in Variety all the time that
Yep.
he booked this show or this movie. And so it's been exciting to kind of see his star rise. So I like to kind of see what new heights that he's going to. So
Lydia, I want to thank you for coming on to the Call Me Obsessed podcast. And before we say goodbye, I have one final question that I ask everybody. What is your current obsession?
gosh, what am I not obsessed with? Currently, I'm obsessed with my dog. I love my dog. We love our dog so much. He's crazy. He's we have a picture of my dog above our fireplace in a canvas stretched canvas photo, and he's got a pipe, and he's got, like, a detective hat on, and we've got a light shining on his face, and my kids are like, where's our picture? So we are a little bit obsessed with our dog in this house.
Lydia, you're on social media that we've mentioned a few times on Instagram and TikTok. And you guys can go follow her. Here are her handles. Lydia, it was such a joy to let us into your world, your life, and what it's like to be a talent agent. I just really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was fun. Great to meet you.